Hello everybody's in African Relation. Today I fell on this interview on the Indian Army. I'm supposed to be making another another video on the new Indian Army new military uniform, which I'll have an interview on it. But before this, let's dive into this. And I really like this interview concerning how the Indians Army hunted down the Pulwama attackers. So let's go.
ADC, a young captain, he asked me, sir, abhi kya hoga? Pardon my language, I said, we'll get Was it an intelligence failure? Here I would like to clarify a few things. We have enemy who is always up to a mischief.
Yeah, that's true.
On the line of control, inside the hinterland, in Kashmir, in mainland India, every time.
Yeah.
So the number of incidents which are avoided or which are not allowed to take place
That's true.
because of the intelligence agencies, the security forces, the synergy, those incidents or the numbers don't come out in the media or in the
that's
public
true.
domain.
Yeah, that's really true, because there's a lot of things are prevented, but you cannot stop everything. That's so true.
And there's a reason for it. Suppose there is an incident which was to happen and we have got the whiff of it. We picked up the chatter and we avoided that incident. Now, if we announce it that this has happened, and this is what we did, and pat our backs openly, the enemy would come to know how we picked it up and how we not allowed it to happen. So it's a game in the intelligence where you don't say what you have been able to avoid.
Right.
So that the enemy doesn't pick up your capabilities, your resources, your assets. So coming back to Pulwama, if out of 100 incidents which were planned by the enemy, 99 are not allowed to happen, and unfortunately, I repeat again, unfortunately, one incident happens. And that incident happened to be a very big one. So that does not mean in any way that the intelligence agencies are not doing their job, because they were able to avoid, say, 99 or whatever numbers. One incident is unfortunate, that's agreed. But we cannot start blaming our intelligence agencies or security forces because they are in the line of fire literally every day. They are away from their families, they are losing their life and limb for the nation. And I would request all those people who shouted from the rooftops that it was an intelligence failure to spare a thought. Spare a thought the type of job we are doing. There is a whole nation which is behind this. There is a proper regular army which is doing all this. Now to curtail the actions of those people which are being planned at that level, it takes lots of efforts.
But so my question is, it's not to castigate but to ask, where was there some systems like the SOPs were not followed, sare ke sare ek saath gaye the, maybe that there was some failure in that, would you say?
Ma'am, I have seen Kashmir, like you have seen for last more than 30 years, how initially the convoys used to move, how the roads used to be closed, the link roads used to be blocked, and nobody was allowed to come on the roadside. Then when the terror graph came down, when the incidents came down, the peace more or less got established. So a lot of things were relaxed. it was because the general public was feeling the pinch, and they were somehow not allowed to move on the road where the military.
Okay, so basically, I'm understanding what happened. So basically, when the situation was tighter, the army tightened everything. So now when everything became loose, the army losing everything. And thus, when the Indian army lose everything in Kashmir, then that's when the terrorists were able to get through. Okay, I get it.
Military convoys or the BSF or the police convoys are moving. So by and by, with this civilian traffic also coming on the roads, and over the last 30 years, the number of vehicles which have increased, the automobiles, the two-wheelers which have increased, and people are using it. So there was, I'll say, very less checking or control over the civilian traffic onto the roads,
Okay.
and the military convoys were moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the terrorists took advantage.
Which is common in every nation, because it's like both military, the military and civilian use the same traffic road. Okay, I get his point.
Of this relaxation of our security forces,
Mm-hmm.
wherein we were doing it for our public. They're good, and they took advantage of this, and they, in a civil vehicle, in a civil mode, they entered the convoy, and rest, as you are aware, they blew off the vehicle. So if those civilians were not allowed on the road, this incident would not have happened.
How did it change the situation on the ground? Because an attack like this, it does demoralize. So how do you keep it going with your men? How do you keep them motivated when something like this happens? So many casualties.
Now, exactly the same point, how to keep the morale high. I written a detailed chapter in my book, which we can talk later. But on that day, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, for next 3 days, from a dialogue from a popular Hindi movie, How is the Josh, was changed to How is the Jash, referring to Jaish-e-Mohammed, especially all the Pakistani handles. So we knew as a system, as a security forces, that we need to hit back at the earliest. I still remember going for a meeting that evening where all the security agencies and the intelligence were meeting. My ADC, a young captain, he asked me, "Sir, abhi kya hoga?" Pardon my language. I said, "We'll get." And
only in India would the word bastard be considered, and we consider a bad word, and it just proves, like, living in the West versus living in other countries, just like, the Western ideology has, the Western way of doing things, like Andrew Tate said, the West is losing its morality. We have to be honest with it. It is indeed losing its morality. Let's continue.
we did exactly that as a very concerted effort of intelligence and security. Within 100 hours, we eliminated the module which had carried out the Pulwama incident. And that is where the morale which you referred to, morale came back. The best way to liven up the soldiers' morale is to achieve success.
I would not have said that more better myself, and I really enjoyed this, and I hope you guys enjoy with me. This is an African reaction. I hope to see this. I wouldn't have said this better. And like I said, Jai Hind, and sorry for the soldier who lost their life. Being an NGO soldier is one of the hardest jobs, and being a security intelligence officer, especially in the Kashmir and the LOC line of contact, it's not easy. So Jai Hind, and have a blessed day. Bye.